if you can organize these content pieces in the right way and people are sharing your content and you're growing and you're getting those downloads, it's time to hit them with a sale. I'm already lining up my sales sequence and then going to do my signature course like I always do near the end of the month. So this is my audience warming time, which again, is something I always do. And that's a part of what I like about being more conversational and talking about what is currently going on in the market. So it's not going to seem like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 2 months. I'd like you to buy this thing. So for me, people on my email list know I've been talking to people for a while, right? I've sent you videos. I've been talking about the trade deals and all this kind of stuff. So I've been warming my audience for a while, and then I'm going to do a 2-week sales cycle, which again is something I've always done. It's usually like a 7 email cycle for opening and closing of my signature course, which I only open probably 5 to 6 times per year. And that's what I normally do for revenue.
So you have this process that you repeat several times a year. It involves a sequence of emails. You're warming up your audience, and then you do the pitch. Tell me more about the pitch part of this process. And then you can also tell us about the course itself, because I'd like to hear what your audience finds as something that they would put some money for.
Yeah, so it's the Investor's Toolkit is the name of the course. And for me, it goes back to the psychology thing, right? Scarcity is the word. So the fact that I only offer it a certain amount of times per year is a part of it. The reason I only offer it a certain amount of times per year is because there is an active live component and I can only teach with so many people. I ain't got the capacity to be teaching everybody. So that is a real part of it. So that's number one. Number two is that it's only open a certain time of the year. I don't pre-plan when I'm going to open. So it's not like I'm just waiting till next month. I don't know when I'm opening again. It really depends on what is my capacity, when are my kids going to be free. It is what it is whenever I open it. So when I say it's closed, it legitimately is closed until I feel like it again. So it's a floating window that may or may not be open. So that scarcity component is a real thing. And then there's the part of the value piece that I inject into the course. And it's not just learning how to invest, which is a part of it, but you're learning from someone who has legitimate market experience. I've got the academic credentials. I've done it as a financial advisor and done it at the highest level. And my value proposition is I'm teaching you what I taught people at the highest level. This is what I taught 50 families who have millions of dollars. You're getting the exact same type of advice that they got. And you're getting all of that for one fee, one time. And you get lifetime access to this forever. And that's it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait a minute, really? And people take that and run. And in addition to that, every single month, you get a live call with me. And so those things are valuable. And the only way you can get to is being on the email list. You can't find it online, nowhere else, no more. Then on the website, it's really nowhere anymore. So it is email exclusive. So you have to be on the email list. You have to go through a webinar, which is on the email list to get it.
Have you grown it over the time that you've offered it?
Yeah, I had a free webinar, just a free webinar. The name of that webinar was How to Create Your Six-Figure Investing Plan. I eventually got that to an evergreen automated webinar. It's something I'm going to work on over the summer to get that refreshed and updated. But I had that be an Ever webinar, which was a program that did that. And you could sign up and it was all automated. So I did that for several years and that became a 6-figure program, hosted that on Teachable for a while and it ran for itself for a while. So the only piece I need to do is, again, update that webinar to get it back on its evergreen cycle. But other than that, I just open it on my own every now and then with the periodic email sequence. And that's about it.
Talk a little bit more in detail, so much as you're comfortable with the revenue side of things. Is that 100% what you're earning from content right now?
Yeah, good question. It doesn't replace 100% of my income from my day job yet, but we're definitely working towards that. Revenue wise, I'm doing, so YouTube, that income is definitely variable.
Is that YouTube ads?
Yeah, so they pay you just based on the ads. It's been as high as 1,000, as low as 400. It varies. This month has been weird. YouTube sponsorships, in the midst of a sponsorship deal right now, that's 4 or 5 months long. And then course sales, which depends on when I want to open it. So those are the three primary ones. And then the fourth one, which I haven't done a ton of, but I want to do more coming up. These do a lot of freelance writing. That was a big revenue pillar. But that's something I'd like to get more into, or back into rather. But those are the three primary ones. And then freelance writing would be the last one. If I could get back to freelance writing, that could probably replace my full-time income.
What would you say to someone who wants to start a course now?
Always work backwards. So I never start a new course without getting some sort of survey. I don't like spending a ton of time building something or even outlining something really without getting some sort of feedback. What is it that you actually need? That's number one. And then I'll outline that. And then I'll pre-sell that outline, because what you don't want to do, a neat keyword is pre-sell the outline, because again, what you don't want to do is record all this content, make these nice PDFs, spend all this money, and nobody sign up. You don't want to do that. Pre-sell the outline, give yourself 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, before to give yourself to actually fulfill all that stuff. That's number one. And number two, we call it scaffolding in education, meaning every part of these lessons fold into each other and it's in the right order. So for me, if I'm talking about building a portfolio, the first thing I'm going to do, portfolio is a collection of stocks. But notice when I just said that, right? I didn't just say build a portfolio and just kept moving on. No, I said a portfolio is a collection of, I defined what that was.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about that in a course, I'm going to say, here's what a portfolio is, but actually here's what a stock is. And then actually, while we're talking about stocks, how do you know this is a good stock? And that's 3 levels deep. So you need to know every tiny piece. And matter of fact, while we're talking about stocks, where do we even buy one? Oh, you need an app. Here are 3 apps to choose. And while we're there, how do you even open an app? Here's a whole tutorial on all the things you need to do with a screen capture on how to open an app. Because depending on your audience and mine as first-time investors, they've never done this before. So they're going to need to be walked through every single step. So those are the things you have to like design that experience for whoever your audience is, and make sure that at no point are they going to be lost. And that's something that I will outline, I will think through, I will grab somebody who's never done. It's like, hey, go take this course real quick. I had my sister take it. I've had someone else take it just from my email list. You've been on here a long time, for free. I'll let you take this course. Give me feedback, blunt feedback, and just have them just go through and test it. And sometimes if they're in person, I will have them like test it. And if you get any type of confused in this process, I'm going to figure out why that was the case, because if there's a hang up, I need to know so I can redesign it or fix it in any way. And those are the details. And those are the things that people are going to rave about when they are writing a review. So it's the outline, pre-selling the outline, scaffolding, and just making sure that people have every single piece of that process known and out there and open.
Yeah, that seems like an incredible amount of detail, which is understandably necessary if you're talking to first-time investors.
And every niche is different, right? Investing may be like the most complex, but everybody's thing is different.
I want to dig into what you meant by pre-sell the outline, though. Is that I want to produce a course that is basically this, and are you selling it at that point? Are you collecting money for people who buy it in advance? Or what does that mean to pre-sell the outline?
Yeah, it means collecting money. So basically, I'm going to come out with my landing page, and I'm going to come out with my scaffolded list of all the things I would have done, right? Video for this. This is all the topics I'm going to teach and all the things I honestly would have done, and basically a checklist of all the content I need to put out.
Okay.
Put it out there, do my little sales sequence, and see for $90, $50, whatever it is, pre-sale, the course will be live in, let's say, a month. Okay. So I'm doing my sales sequence for, let's say, 2 weeks. The reason why it's 2 weeks and it comes out in a month is I need the entire month to produce the content. So I'm buying myself time, and I'm giving people 2 weeks to decide whether or not they want to buy. If they don't buy, I don't need to sit here and make all this content for nothing. So that's a trade-off. If I get 2 or 3 people or even 1 person to buy, I can produce the content, put the course out, and then we're good. So it's a hedge that I'm not spending money and spending time editing, putting together these videos, putting together this content, and nobody actually buys it. Same thing with a book proposal, right? You
Yeah.
put out what's supposed to be a 300-page book, but it's really 50 pages. And then you sell that proposal, they give you enough time, and then you got to actually write the whole book like within the
Right.
deadline. So it's the exact same concept there.
Is there a certain threshold of amount of interest or amount of sales that you would need before you decide this is worth it or not worth it? And then what happens if you don't get enough, but you got some? Are you leaving some people disappointed if you don't make the course at that point?
I have not had a miss yet. And that's just for me. I've had things in a way where like I produce enough content where I can have, it's easier for me to pull those things together. I've had more experience with it. So I haven't had that issue. I also have, I try and price things in a way where if I get one person to buy, then it's worth it for me to do. Also, the way I see it is that if I can get at least one person to buy, that I can resell this. I can tweak my marketing a bit and sell it further down the line. I can tweak this a bit and just extend the marketing window for the next cycle or something like that. So it does really depend on what are you pricing it at and what is the value for it. Because if it's $25, but it's going to cost you 12 hours, that's a bit different, right? But if it's 250 or $500, then, that's a bit different. So it really does depend on the price. But for me, if you get one, then all you got to do is tweak the marketing, tweak the audience perhaps. And then one customer, all you got to do is figure out what their profile was. Give them a survey after. What did you like about the course? Why did you buy it? Take that, use it in your marketing, and copy and paste for other people down the line.
Conversations like this are very inspiring to me because I'm trying to figure out how I can get back into content. So just being able to hear from you and some of the other people that we talked to on the live streams have been great, incredibly useful for all the content creators who are listening. I'm going to make sure that more people get a chance to listen to this. I really appreciate your time, Kevin. This has been a great discussion. Is there anything else you want to leave with, just in terms of thanks for content creators?
Yeah, I would say it's always going to be ebbs and flows. Nothing is as bad as what we feel sometimes. A lot of times we are emotional about the content, and trust me, I get it. But I would say a lot of times it comes down to the data, right? And it comes down to the science of it. And if you can break down and figure out what those buttons are, it's really about just honing those things in and hammering that thing home, and like finding out what that recipe is, what that formula is, and just cranking that out and figuring out what that formula is for you. The last thing I always say is if I have any gifts, is consistency. Like the only reason I've grown on YouTube and some of the platforms I have is just being consistent. And the only reason I've been able to do that is it's not really about doing something every single day, but it's just about finding the schedule and the thing that works for me. And I don't try and be different than who I am online. Like people who have met me in person, I'm the exact same. I don't be lying. Like my kids have come and interrupt me on camera. I'll leave that in. I'm not changing that. I identify as the same person I am on camera. Like I am an investor, and that's what makes it easier for me to be on camera and to do the stuff that I do. It's not like I have to pretend or perform for those things. It is a business for some of us, and we have to treat it as such, but also make it a part, if you choose, make it a part of who you are. And that's for me is what makes it a lot easier. And it's easier for me to be as consistent because I wake up like this all the time. This is just who I am. That's what makes it easier to do this and everything else.